A comet streaks across the night sky filled with stars, casting its ethereal glow. Below, a congested highway comes into view, and a red motorcycle zooms along at breakneck speed. The rider, a young man with black hair, doesn't bother with a helmet or any protective gear, defying safety norms. Ignoring all traffic signals, he maneuvers skillfully through the crowded highway, seemingly guided by luck. Ironically, despite his fortunate streak, he harbors frustration for being unable to wield his superpower effectively. As he speeds along, he reflects on the morning's events. The superhuman school's grounds are bustling with a massive audience gathered for the entrance examination. On stage, outstanding students who have passed the writing test showcase their abilities. Today, the superpowers of these students will be put to the test, each having a magic ball placed in front of them. The young man, part of the exceptional students, eagerly awaits his turn. Amidst the crowd, a beautiful black-haired girl passionately cheers for him. The host who greeted the students explained the guidelines of the test. There are 5 tiers of superpowers: white dust, blue spirit, violet soul, red royal, and sacred black. The school will only be recruiting students who are at least blue spirit tier, and the lowest tier, white dust, will not be recruited. As the young man touched the ball in front of him, it glowed a bright white light, signifying that he is a white dust. His eyes widened in disbelief, and as he looked at the other students, one had a violet soul, and the rest had blue spirit. The young man with blonde hair can be seen standing behind the black-haired beauty. He is laughing in the crowd and mocking the young man, Ming He, saying that he is one of the few people who have white dust talent and how inconspicuous his superpower would be. Ming He was petrified due to shock and humiliation as the crowd joined in laughing and mocking him. The young blonde man then proceeds to add that Ming He has the gall to confess to the school beauty, who is a violet soul. The black-haired beauty looked up at the stage with great worry in her eyes. Ming He's flashback ends as he opens his eyes, and a huge truck is about to hit him. He skillfully maneuvered his way around the oncoming truck in another car. Despite a recent brush with death, he remained disturbed and dismissed his abilities as worthless. Shortly afterward, he was observed journeying outside the city, accompanied by a massive thoracic spine skeleton acting as a road arch. Ming He glanced upward and noticed a comet approaching. Initially appearing as a single large comet, upon closer inspection, it revealed a trail of smaller comets following the largest one. Believing in his extraordinary luck, Ming He thought that not even a bullet could harm him, let alone a comet given the vastness of the earth. However, as he completed that thought, a brilliant light emanated from behind him. Startled, Ming He turned around, widening his eyes at the comet now trailing him. In an instant, the comet struck. There was no time for Ming He to react. The earth trembled, debris scattered in all directions, and a dust cloud enveloped the impact site. As the dust settled, Ming He was seen lying at the center of the crater, signifying his position as the epicenter of the collision. His body, surprisingly intact, suddenly became the focus of attention. A bubble-like substance floated and entered Ming He's chest. Instantly, a game-like system appeared, revealing that his luck stats were incredibly high, preventing the system from devouring him like a parasite. A silhouette of a gigantic woman, seemingly one with the system, materialized in front of Ming He. A system message warned of an approaching enemy, advising cooperation with the host is the best option. The system delved into Ming He's hippocampus, accessing his memories to identify him. After learning that Ming He lacked combat abilities, the gigantic silhouette granted him powers. Ming He's talent rating soared to royal red, leaving the silhouette satisfied, confident in Ming He's newfound ability to fight. Later, in the hospital, Ming He lay on a bed with monitors and a ventilator. The doctor discussed Ming He's condition with a blonde nurse, noting his fine physical state but attributing his coma to a head injury. The blonde nurse expressed her commitment to caring for Ming He. Interrupting their conversation, another nurse entered and summoned Dr. Zhao. She informed him that Tian Wen's group had sent a bottle of the monster's blood for examination. Dr. Zhao and the nurses left the room, leaving Ming He alone. Days later, a black-haired beauty visited Ming He in the hospital, bringing a bouquet of flowers. With a worried expression, she gazed at the unconscious Ming He. A month later, the young man with blonde hair, along with his friends, visited Ming He as well. But they looked at him with mockery in their eyes. They were discussing how Ming He felt upset because he desired to be superhuman, emphasizing that he should have still prioritized his safety even in a bad mood. As they continued conversing, the blonde noticed a pink envelope and a bouquet of flowers placed on Ming He's bedside table. While his friends talked about the expensive medical fees Ming He incurred, mentioning that his big sister took on extra jobs, the blonde paid them no mind. He seized the pink envelope and opened it to read its contents. His face filled with rage as he perused the message. It was a reply from Liu Qian, the black-haired beauty, addressing Ming He's confession. Jealousy filled his eyes. The realization that Ming He, a disabled superhuman, might not even wake up lingered in the blonde's mind as he looked at Ming He with contempt. He tore the letter to shreds on the spot. A year passed, and a cockroach-like monster emerged from a manhole. The monster was so massive that it destroyed the concrete surrounding the manhole as it emerged. The hospital's POS system buzzed, followed by the announcement that a large number of mutant monsters appeared in Nanchang, and all the staff were requested to leave immediately. Dr. Zhao, along with a few hospital staff, were startled. Nurses and patients began moving towards the exit, but the blonde-haired nurse who was taking care of Ming He ran in the opposite direction. Dr. Zhao saw the nurse and was worried. He was about to follow the nurse when the building shook, and the staff around him convinced him to leave the building. The blonde-haired nurse was worried about the unconscious student. As she was running through the hallways, she thought that even if he wouldn't wake up, she couldn't just leave him there. As she proceeded to run towards Ming He's room, a silhouette of a monster with claws and a tongue full of saliva dangling from the ceiling could be seen from behind her. She hurriedly opened the door to Ming He's room and saw his scowling face as if he was in pain. She rushed towards him, immediately grabbed his hand, and tried to get him off the bed when something caught her attention. She saw her reflection from the window, with a massive cockroach standing behind her. She froze in place as the monster held her, started licking her face, and proceeded to admire how delicious she was. The hands she was holding unexpectedly moved and punched the monster behind her. Her eyes widened with surprise. The punch was so powerful that it looked like a shockwave. Ming He, now sitting in his bed, gave a deaf glare while having an aural-like mist surrounding his fists. Under the shimmering night sky, outside the hospital building, a swarm of cockroach monsters crawled on its walls. Suddenly, a portion of a wall from a higher floor exploded, as if something burst out from it. Inside, a hole pierced through 3 layers of walls, revealing the night sky. Ming He faced the damaged wall with clenched fists. In front of him, a blonde nurse knelt, covering her head as if her life depended on it. Behind her, a cockroach monster with its upper half missing collapsed on the floor with a loud thud. Ming He reassured the blonde nurse that the monster was dead. He reached out his hand to the nurse and asked if she could stand. Ming He thanked the blonde nurse, Ms. Song, for taking care of him for so long. In return, Ms. Song thanked Ming He for saving her life and asked when he had woken up. Ming He did not answer and shifted the topic, asking if he was in Nanchang Hospital and why there were so many monsters there. Nurse Song explained that they were informed by the higher-ups that polluted fluid had entered the city sewers, infecting parasites and causing mutations. Ming He inquired about other staff and nearby residents. Ms. Song mentioned they were likely moving to a safe place, but Ming He was unconscious, and she feared for his safety. She couldn't finish her sentence as the thought of Ming He being eaten by a monster vividly crossed her mind. Ming He smiled, assuring Ms. Song that she hadn't left him behind. Ms. Song simply replied that she was just doing her job and then questioned how Ming He, a student, could kill the mutant with just a punch. Ming He thought to himself that he had been practicing his fighting technique for a whole year. However, he declined to respond to Ms. Song's inquiry. Instead, he evaded the question once more by suggesting they quickly depart the location and seek safety with the others. The commotion from the earlier altercation had attracted additional monsters, filling the hallway. Ming He entered the hallway through the hole he had previously made in the wall, and instructed Ms. Song to remain inside the room. The moment he exited the room, monsters leaped at him in an attempt to attack. Ming He assumed a punching stance and swiftly dispatched all the creatures in the vicinity with a single, powerful punch. The cockroaches at the very end of the hallway were astonished by what they saw and were frozen in place. Ming He ran towards them and pierced through their bodies with punches. As Ming He punched the last cockroach, he heard Ms. Song scream. He looked back and saw that a cockroach escaped his attacks by crawling through the ceiling and was now about to attack Ms. Song. A bottle of sulfuric acid in a medical cart caught Ming He's attention. He ran and grabbed it and broke the bottle in his hands. Instead of the liquid falling towards the floor, it gathered in his fists. Ms. Song has her eyes closed and one hand covering her head as if she was accepting her fate to be eaten when Ming He punched the cockroach and called the move acid punch. Ms. Song opened her eyes filled with tears and she witnessed the monster that was supposed to eat her was now melting in front of her. Ming He looked at his hand as he thought of the countless times he practiced the move in his brain. His fists are now glowing with a green color. Ms. Song exclaimed in admiration and asked if his superpower had something to do with punching. Ming He did not answer Ms. Song's question again and just said that he's still a student who failed the examination last year with a humble smile on his face. Ms. Song retorted that the teachers must be blind because his powers can't even compare to some of Pyro-ranked superhumans. His smile turned into a sad expression as he then remembered the embarrassing memory of being ranked as white dust during the examination last year. Ming He asked Ms. Song what was that fluid and how did the cockroaches become so scary. Ms. Song just answered that not only cockroaches are in the city sewers. Ming He agreed and proceeded to ask Ms. Song if there was any more sulfuric acid as it was quite useful. On the mountainside road where the sewers end in a river, a bus can be seen moving across a bridge where a gigantic shadow with huge glowing eyes was moving underneath it. As the bus was crossing the bridge, the concrete in front of them was blasted upward and rubble flew everywhere. The passengers inside the bus, including the driver, screamed and panicked as they saw the horde of cockroach monsters crawling up the bridge toward them. Dr. Zhao, who was inside the bus, was screaming at his phone calling for help. He stated that there were a lot of mutant organisms that appeared at Nanchang Bridge, and they need the assistance of superhumans. A cockroach broke through a window and was about to attack a lady sitting beside it when a loud bang was heard. A man, wearing a cowboy outfit, appeared and he was standing on the roof of the bus. He's wearing a badge that looks like it's meant for superhumans and was holding a rifle in each hand. Each rifle has smoke coming out of them, indicating that it was fired and killed the cockroach that is now slumped at the bus's window. He introduced himself as a pyro-ranked superhuman as he reassured the passengers inside the bus. He fired his rifles continuously as he yelled at the monsters, telling them to die. He yelled that it doesn't matter how many monsters come as his superpower is infinite bullets. A cockroach managed to slip from the onslaught of bullets and was about to bite his foot, but he jumped and twirled into the air while he continued to fire his rifles. He landed on the bus in a cool stance with one of his knees bent. He was startled, his expression changed, and his eyes widened as he saw a huge shadow looming above him. When he looked up, he was greeted by a giant rat monster. Its eyes were huge and glimmering and its claws raised and ready to attack. It bared its teeth and screeched, causing its saliva to be expelled into the air. A huge blow hit the bus, creating a huge hole in its roof. The passengers' faces were distorted with terror as they saw through the hole that the monster rat was munching on the superhuman's body as his badge fell into the bus. They cried for help in unison. In a forest near the hospital building, Ms. Song and Ming He can be seen crouching behind a tree. This Song asked Ming He if any of those monsters followed them, and he told her that for now, nothing is following them. As they were about to leave, something caught Ms. Song's attention. It was a burning bus located at the edge of the broken bridge. She was telling Ming He that it was probably the last bus that left the hospital and everyone must be in danger when a handheld radio made a buzzing noise nearby, and it caught Ming He's attention. The voice on the other line announced a large mutant rat appeared at Nanchang Bridge. Pyro-ranked Twin Gun had lost all vital signs, and no registered superhuman was nearby. Ming He picked up the radio and asked the person on the other line for all the information about the giant rat. The person answered that it was weak against fire and asked Ming He if he was a superhuman. Ming He answered that he was a high schooler who failed the entrance examination of the superhuman school. The voice on the other line panicked and warned Ming He sternly that he shouldn't be stupid because the giant rat was a rank monster and all theories he learned about rats were useless. The voice tried to convince Ming He to hurry and seek shelter and not throw away his life. Ming He didn't take heed of the voice's warnings and was already walking towards the bridge, leaving the handheld radio behind. With a determined face, Ming He stated that the staff took care of him for a whole year when he was unconscious, so he can't just do nothing. The giant rat monster is now tilting the bus toward the edge of the bridge. The passengers inside are screaming as the huge eyes of the rat peek through the window at the back of the bus. Ming He and Ms. Song were hiding in the bushes nearby as they observed the rat playing with its food. As Ming He tried to step out of hiding and told Ms. Song to stay hidden, she tried to stop him and said that he might get killed. Ming He smiled and reasoned with her that when a patient is in danger, the staff, won't just stand and do nothing. He then jumped out of the bushes and lunged towards the giant rat, thinking that he won't know if he can't beat the monster if he won't try. The giant rat, who is biting the rear end of the bus, was knocked out of place and let go of the bus as Ming He swung his fist towards its face. As he's fighting the giant rat, he's thinking about how these animals got so big and if he were to get hit, his bones would be broken to pieces and he would lose the ability to fight. The giant rat launched a bombardment of attacks. Roads and cars were destroyed and debris was flying everywhere. Ming He kept dodging those while thinking that rats are very agile and he can't let them touch him, not even once. Ming He ran towards the bunch of abandoned cars in the road to lead the giant rat away from the bus. The giant rat tried to bite Ming He but chomped down on a car instead. Ming He saw this as a chance and gave the rat a powerful punch. The impact was so strong that it created a gust that looked like a shockwave. After the dust and rubble settled, the giant rat was revealed lying on the wrecked concrete road. As Ming He saw the giant rat faint, he walked towards it recklessly, swinging his arms in the air to prepare for the final blow, but then he stopped in his tracks when he realized something. Cunning animals like rats tend to act dead. The giant rat opened its eyes in an instant and attacked Ming He, but he was able to dodge and it bit off a car in half instead. Ming He ran through the cars as the giant rat chased him, plowing through the obstructions in its path, causing the cars around them to fly away. He is now in a pinch. The strength of his punches is not enough to kill the rat monster. A toppled over car was leaking gas and it caught Ming He's attention. He then started running toward cars and opening their gas tanks as he lures the giant rat's attack to hit cars. This went on for a long time and the giant rat is now tired. It was drooling and panting as it glared at Ming He, who is now holding a lighter from a distance, and was about to let the lighter go. Ms. Song now went out of hiding in the bushes and rushed towards the bus to check on Dr. Lin Zhao and the others. Dr. Zhao was surprised and relieved that Ms. Song was able to escape the hospital, as he was asking Ms. Song if what he saw was right, that the superhuman that saved them was wearing the hospital uniform when they heard a loud boom. The cars around the area where Ming He and the giant rat were fighting exploded. The area was in a blaze and terror is now evident on the giant rat's face. Ming He's fist was standing in the middle of the fire and his fist is absorbing it. He swung with all his might and punched the giant rat with his burning fist and called that move Blazing Punch. His punch cleared up a path in front of him, but the path was scorching. The staff exclaimed with joy as they saw the giant rat was killed. Soon they realized the person who saved them was wearing their hospital uniform. One of them even recognized him as a student who had been in a coma for a whole year. Ms. Song then told the staff that his name was Ming He, the student who was not recruited by the superhuman school. At the superhuman command station, a blonde-haired superhuman is talking to Liu Kaiyan through a communication device around her neck. She informed Liu Kaiyan that the general rank mutant monster has been killed. Liu Kaiyan, who stopped dashing and stood at a tree branch, was glad that the people she wanted to know who killed the general rank mutant because she wanted to thank them in person. The blonde superhuman did not know who was the strong superhuman who rushed there, but she don't think it was that impolite student that she know. She then asked Liu Kaiyan if she had found the source of the pollution. There was a pause before Liu Kaiyan responded that there will be more mutant monsters in the future and all they can do now is evacuate everyone in Nanchang and seal all the polluted regions. At the rescue station, beside the guard who was watching over the gate, Ms. is treating the bruises on Ming He's hands. She praised how incredible Ming He is and expressed that if it wasn't for him, they would have never made it out alive. As Ming He looked down to hide his blushing face, a young woman with long black hair was causing a commotion. She was trying to enter the polluted area, but the guard stopped her. The guard reassured her that everyone had already been evacuated, but the girl did not listen, saying that her younger brother was in there and she must save him. She broke down and was pleading with the guard, telling them that he was pitiful, and that he was only a teenage boy but has been living in the hospital unconscious and hadn't woken up. As she was crying, telling the sob story of her younger brother, Ming He, who was sitting one step away from the commotion, looked at the girl in a very funny way. The girl revealed that the name of her brother was Ming He. She was sobbing as she told the guard that she couldn't believe that at such a young age, her brother would face such tragedy when he hadn't even held a woman's hand yet. She then composed herself, stared into space, and proclaimed that she'll definitely save him even if it costs her life, and if he was dead, she'll simply join him. Ming He's mouth gapes as he stares at his sister with disbelief and embarrassment. Ming He stood up while looking at his sister sideways. His sister was dumbfounded for a moment and then jumped into his arms and hugged him when she came to it. She was ecstatic that Ming He was awake as she was really worried about him, while he was shocked by his sister's reaction. As she was sobbing, Ming He's expression turned sad as he reminisced about what his sister has gone through. She's been taking care of him and working many jobs to take care of his hospital bills. He hugged her back. He was apologetic that he scared her like that and thanked her for her hard work during the year. Later, in an old building apartment, Ming He just woke up. He seems to have his hair cut and he's no longer at the hospital wearing hospital clothes. As he was saying it's been so long since he slept at his own house, he noticed the food and a letter from his sister on the table. The letter says that his sister went to work as the medical bills are not fully paid yet, so she won't be able to stay with him all the time and that he must stay home and recuperate. Ming He didn't think that the hospitalization and patient care bills would be that high for just a year, even the fee for his haircut yesterday. He feels guilty that his sister is working 3 jobs just for him, and she even looks paler than him who was the patient. He decided that he needed to find a way to make money to improve his sister's life. As Ming He was having those thoughts, as if the television made an announcement about a reward being offered to anyone who has clues about the source of the polluted fluid. He immediately grabbed the TV and exclaimed, "That's it." They were also given rewards for killing the monsters in the area. He was bewildered that the matter hasn't been resolved yet, and they were already giving that much money just for intel about the source of the pollution. He imagined that he wouldn't only be able to pay all the medical bills that he owes, but he could even afford a new home for them and could use the leftover money to buy lots of makeup and clothes for his sister. He started to think about where the source of the polluted fluid would be. He came up with the idea that he should be looking at Nanchang Hospital instead of the Nanchang district. He has to go inside to check. Even if he won't find any clues, he'll still be able to get money from killing the mutated monsters. That way, he gets rid of the monsters and gets rid of evil for the sake of the people, and he also gains some experience through actual combat. Then he came into the bounty hall. A receptionist greeted him and asked if he was there to post a bounty or if he was a superhuman. Ming He responded that he was a superhuman. She continued to ask about his rank so she could give him a bounty mission of a level that fits his rank. Ming He did not answer the question directly and asked the receptionist instead what rank he needs to be to kill some mutated cockroaches to gain some bounty rewards. The receptionist informed him that there won't be many conditions for that. He just needs to show them some basic superpower. They will also give him an intern superhuman badge. But if he really wants to get a rank for himself and become a starlight rank superhuman, he will have to go through a much more complicated examination. Then he accepted the conditions and asked to be taken to the training venue. At the training venue, there are a lot of people individually facing robots. The receptionist asked Ming He what kind of superpower he has. He told her it was his punch. She then took Ming He towards one of the robots and explained to him that the robot will be used to test him, and it was very sturdy so he can hit it with all his power. She explained that the robot will then give him a value on how strong his punches are. Ming He looked at the screen placed on the face of the robot. The screen displayed that the limit is 0 to 12, and a massive number below the limit shows 800 kilograms. He was not sure if his punches could meet the 800 kilograms standard, so he just has to give it his all as his muscles are not fully recovered yet from being unconscious for a year. His face glared at the robot seriously, and he perceived to change into a punching stance. He punched the robot with all his might and his fists were smoking. It startled all the people in the room, including the receptionist. They all looked in Ming He's direction. The chest part of the robot was dislodged and dropped to the ground with a huge clang. The screen now displays 1,000 kilograms. Ming He looked disappointed about the number as it was barely enough to reach the standard. The other testees shouted with disbelief at what nonsense Ming He just said because he just broke the test record. The receptionist then explained that 800 kilograms was the score left behind by Iron Fist, who debuted not long ago, and he was the first one to beat that record. Ming He coyly scratched the back of his head as he realized how he misunderstood the number that was displayed on the screen earlier. At the reception hall, the receptionist gave Ming He a 1,000 yuan shopping card as a small prize for breaking the record. She explained that if he breaks some other records during a rank examination, he will receive more rewards. Ming He asked her what kind of ranks they have here. The receptionist told him that they are currently handling Starlight, Moonglow, Sunblaze, and the Heaven Flare rank, and if he has one that is higher, he'll have to go somewhere else. Ming He was thinking hard as he stared at the shopping card he just got. He then proceeded to smile and thought about the rumors he heard that you'll be able to buy a villa and an expensive car if you reach the Heaven Flare rank. Even if he wasn't sure if it was true or not, he was now determined. He just needs to focus on getting stronger, and later, Ming He arrived at the gathering place for the bounty. He didn't think that there would be so many people interested in the bounty. He was overwhelmed by the number of superhumans gathered and wondered if those people were waiting for their other members. Liu Kaikshuan, Moonglow rank, approached Ming He. He asked him if he was alone and if he wanted to join the Crimson Eagles. He asked him back if they were all gathered there to find more group members. He told him that waiting for more members is their only reason since they're going to a dangerous place and don't allow ability users below Sunblaze rank to enter alone. He agreed to join, but he asked for his rank and told him to show his badge. Ming He showed his badge and Liu Kaikshuan immediately saw he is Starlight rank intern. He told Ming He that their group doesn't take rookies. It's suicidal for a Starlight intern to enter and advised Ming He to go back and train some more. Ming He pondered if no one will team up with him because of his low rank. Lin Yeyu, a former classmate of Ming He, noticed him. She asked her group members, who are also former classmates of Ming He, to confirm if the person she saw is really him. Her group mates took a look and confirmed it was Ming He. Zhejian smirked as he talked about how the other group shunned Ming He. Lin Yeyu called Ming He. He noticed it was Lin Yeyu and moved near her. She asked him when he was discharged and how she heard he was in a coma. He told her that it's been a while. Liu Xinghong asked Ming He why he would come there. He explained that he needs to earn some money quickly to pay for his, so he came to hunt those mutant monsters. Zhejian mocked Ming He's weak physique and told him that he should be worrying about how not to become the mutant's dinner. Lin Yeyu told Ming He that he should come with them since it's very dangerous inside, and he shouldn't take the risk with his non-combat ability. Zhejian mocked Ming He further, pointing out that Ming He's ability is only luck and its only use is for the lottery. Lin Yeyu stopped Zhejian and told him that as Ming He's old classmates, they should help him overcome his struggles. Lin Yeyu asked Ming He to join them and promised that they will protect him. They've entered the Superhuman Institute for over a year now. They should have gotten a lot stronger. In their eyes, I'm still that poor, rejected person who was paralyzed for a year, Ming He thought to himself. Liu Xinghong expressed that they should just take it as if they were bringing a mascot since Ming He's ability is luck and maybe. Wang Xiaodong told everyone to just bring Ming He since they were once classmates. Lin Yeyu agreed and added that classmates should help each other. She talked to Ming He and explained that the institute requires every student to participate once in an extracurricular activity, so they were discussing coming back in the summer to help deal with the pollution incident. Ming He asked Lin Yeyu where Liu Kaiyan is and why she was not with the group. Zhejian, who was walking ahead, turned his head and once again mocked Ming He for still thinking about Liu Kaiyan and told him she is now a celebrity at the institute and would not work with old classmates of such low rank. Lin Yeyu told Ming He that Liu Kaiyan is incredibly powerful. They couldn't catch up, and she heard that Liu Kaiyan returned to Lenyang City to assist the officials in finding the source of the pollution. She remembered that Ming He had perfect scores in humanities and asked Ming He's idea as to what the source of pollution is. While their group was walking, eyes glowed in the street sewer. Zhejian talked again and stated that perfect scores are meaningless with zero combat ability, hence the reason why Ming He wasn't accepted into the institute. He then pointed out that they're hunting cockroaches and there's no way students like them can handle tasks like finding the source of pollution. Ming He pondered and remembered the report that there have been 3 forms of mutant monsters: mutant cockroaches, mutant maggots, and large mutant rats. He noticed that those are all parasites that live in sewers and speculated that a pollutant is most likely a form of fluid that accidentally got into the sewer system, which caused the area to become a mutant hotspot, producing large numbers of mutated organisms. He ranked the mutated and decided that the large mutant rats are more intimidating. Cockroaches aren't difficult to deal with, and he's thinking that mutant maggots shouldn't be as strong as mutated cockroaches and should be relatively easier to deal with. He was still lost in his thoughts when suddenly a big hand-like mass appeared. He realized that the mass was composed of mutated maggots. A wave of maggots appeared, along with cars and other things it passed by. Lin Yeyu shouted that they should run. Ming He realized he overlooked the fact that maggots are underground parasites that live in groups and feed as a collective group. He shouted at every person they came across, telling them to run, that there are mutant maggots behind them. Zhejian ridiculed Ming He for running and saying that there was nothing to be afraid of and the exact reason why they came there is to defeat mutants. But when he saw the huge wave of mutant maggots, he was shocked and started running fast. They all started to run in the direction of the building with reinforced glass doors. Ming He asked Wang Xiaodong where Lin Yeyu is. Wang Xiaodong looked guilty before telling Ming He that Lin Yeyu tripped. Ming He immediately turned around and asked Wang Xiaodong why she didn't help her and asked the group to help Lin Yeyu. The whole group was confused and afraid at the same time. Then he ran towards Lin Yeyu. She was shouting, telling him not to come or he'll die. He told her that she was the one who said that classmates should help each other. He then noticed a fire hydrant near her and immediately reached for it. Water came out of the fire hydrant. The maggots were about to cover him when his fists closed, and the water swirled.